Hey warrior, welcome to today's video. So I get this question a lot. What do I do about my trigger foods? How do I incorporate the foods that I have historically binged on into my new way of living? How do I develop a healthy relationship with these foods that I have such unhealthy memories around? This is a really great question, and I actually have 3 different steps to how to start incorporating your binge foods, whatever you want to call them, your trigger foods, into your life in a way that you can practice being healthy with them, in a way that you incorporate them, you eat them, you enjoy them in a manner, in a behavior that feels good for you, that's aligned with your body and honoring what it really needs, and that you don't feel guilty about afterwards, right? Because that's the ideal of food freedom, is to enjoy the foods that we want and enjoy them in a way that makes us feel good in the present and long term, and we don't feel guilty about them. So I have 3 different parts. Now, since we are in the beginning lessons of the warrior evolution and we're in the phase where we are nourishing our body and we're learning to get out of survival mode. Sorry, I just noticed I have like an itch. I guess I must have itched myself. That's why it's red. So we're learning how to nourish ourselves. We're getting out of survival mode. We're getting out of starvation mode, and we're telling our bodies, we're showing our bodies it's okay to calm down. It's okay to not go into stress mode where the lower brain takes over and makes us like on hyperdrive, where it makes us have more and more urges. So the steps that you're doing right now, such as eating throughout the day, incorporating healthy portions of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vegetables, balanced, nourishing meals of whole foods, and for lack of a better word, detoxing the processed foods that maybe we're eating regularly, or maybe we restrict ourselves but end up binging on, but still that processed food hijacking of our senses, of our blood sugar, of our brain in making good choices that make us feel our best is not aligned. So we are working on that. So I have to say that first and foremost, because if we are not working on that and not making progress there, anything that you do with your trigger foods or anything that you do with this program is not gonna stick. So we have to be nourishing ourselves regularly first and foremost. And it takes a solid 2 to 4 to 6 weeks for starvation mode and survival mode to come down. All right, but you'll start feeling the great effects of it after a couple of weeks. All right, so now that I have said all of that, we're gonna cover step 1. So in the beginning stages of your recovery, we don't expect you to, be able to eat all the foods right off the bat in the healthy way that you envision. And to put that on yourself is a big ask, and it may be too much too soon. It may be like taking on too much too soon. You will get there, I promise. Trust the process in listening to your body. This isn't on my timeline, it's on your timeline. So in step 1, the way that we start to incorporate our trigger foods is through changing our mindset around what these foods mean to us, what these foods represent to us, the energy that we feel when we encounter these foods, or even when we think about these foods. So I'll give you an example from my own practice. Ice cream and peanut butter were triggering, meaning if I had them in my house, or if they were in the house, period, I wanted them. They called to me from the kitchen. I knew it was there, and it would be in the back of my mind, like, come eat me, come eat me. And it was like I was resisting that voice all day long until my willpower broke, or until my habitual binging hour came around, which was after dinner. I was a nighttime, evening binge eater. And so at that after dinner time, I just had to go. It was like I wanted to do it. My willpower had been depleted by that point, and I'd been resisting all day long, and so it was there. And I couldn't just have one portion. It was always, I need to have more, because my mindset was, I shouldn't be eating this. This food is bad. When I eat this food, I am bad. And so if I'm being bad, I might as well just be bad real hard. And I knew that after I finished that binge on that food, I wasn't going to allow myself to have it again pretty much until the next time my binge urge got me and I made the choice to binge again. So I, in my mind, had a diet rule that food was completely bad and off limits, and I would not allow myself to eat it. But if I was in binge mode, it was going to happen anyway. So I sort of saved those foods unknowingly for my binges. And anytime I interacted with them at a holiday or at just like a random Tuesday where a friend's like, let's go get ice cream, I would immediately be filled with angst, anxiety, fear that I would lose control. I would immediately tell myself that food is bad. We don't eat that food. I don't want people seeing me eat that food, because what if they think something of me, or what if they think that I'm overweight and they see me eating that food, or they know that I am a nutritionist and I shouldn't be eating bad food. All of these stories that I had in my mind. So I created this energy around that food that would come up, and I didn't realize it until I started to bring attention to my habits. So this is happening with you. And like first thing with anything, we need to start to bring awareness to it and start to understand what it feels like, how it sounds, how it's talking to us, and etc. So in this step, and I would say I would embrace this step for a solid 2 to 4 weeks. Again, this is your own timeline, but that's my recommendation. I want you to write down all the foods that you would consider trigger foods, forbidden foods, or foods you've had binges with that you want to create new memories with. So if it were me in recovery and I wanted to redefine my relationship with ice cream, and I thought about the last time I had ice cream, and it was a binge, and pretty much every other time before that. The only time I had in my memory of having ice cream was in an unhealthy way, with the binge urge leading it. And I had all of those feelings wrapped around in it, right? So I'm going to compare this example to a breakup. Think of a scenario where you're dating someone, and right, like you have a special restaurant together, and maybe on Friday nights you I don't know, eat together on the couch, and then you have a favorite movie together, and let's say you would go to the same park and have a picnic on every Sunday, right? Like you have all of these memories with that person. Then you break up, and let's just say this person broke up with you. So you're sad. And now Sunday rolls around, and you think back to the last Sunday that you had, or the last few Sundays that you had, and right away your memory is, oh, Sundays we used to go on picnics together, and now we're not because they broke up with me, and I'm sad. And then the wound kind of like opens again, right? And then we have to heal from that and process through that. Or we don't, but ideally we do. And then same thing, like that movie comes on that you always watched together, and immediately you think back to the last time you saw that movie, and it was with that partner, and you immediately feel sad. So all of those first times without that partner are going to bring up this emotional, historical feel, because you're thinking back, oh, the last time that this happened, I was with them, and now we're not, and now I'm sad. But you know that a healthy way to move forward is to create new memories with these same things. So now on Sundays, you get together with your best friend, and you guys go for brunch. And that movie that you had with that partner, you watch it with your sibling, and you guys just have a great time laughing the whole time that you're watching it. I forget what other examples I gave. Those Friday nights that you would sit on the couch and like order taken, now you go to dance class on those Friday nights, and that is your new thing. That's your new memory. So now every time Friday night comes around, it's not, oh, this is when we used to. It's now Friday nights are the nights where I go dance salsa, and I have the best time of my life. So we're gonna do the same thing with your trigger foods. We are going to strategically create new healthy memories for you in real life, so that the last time that you think of, oh, the last time I had ice cream is not during a binge, but it was, oh, that was when we had ice cream and I had a cone and I went out with my best friends and we walked throughout all of Central Park and it was such a beautiful sunny day, and you have this new experience around that food. And then we repeat it, and then we do it again. So now you build up a bank of really great memories with this food. And it's not just, a psychological trick. It actually starts to change the way you perceive how you are with this food, okay? I hope that makes sense. So step one, I want you to write down the foods you've previously had binges with that you want to create new memories with. And you can add to this list always. Around the holidays, things seem to come up. Around different seasons, things seem to come up. So you can always add to it. Second, I want you to visualize the scenarios of you enjoying this food in a healthy way that's honoring your body, not feeling guilty, and like paint that picture. So put yourself in that Central Park scene where you went and got like the best ice cream in the city with your friend, and it's a beautiful day and you guys are walking and you're laughing and you're enjoying this ice cream, and it's just so quenching and it's so satisfying and it's so yummy and delicious, and your heart's full, your belly's full, everything feels great. I want you to visualize in your mind, and you can write it down as well. I recommend you write it down just so you have it to go back to often. This like ideal scene. Maybe it's after a holiday and you're left with the pumpkin pie. You're left with the pecan pie after the holiday, and you're stressed because you're like, the last time this pie was left in my house, I waited till everybody was asleep and I literally ate the whole thing with a fork, like standing up over the sink and out of the pie tin. And that's the last memory you had with pumpkin pie. Well, of course you're gonna feel anxious and replay that memory over and over. So what would be an ideal way to enjoy a piece of that pumpkin pie when you really wanted it, in an environment, in a manner, with certain people that would fill your heart, that would satisfy you, that would be so delicious and comforting, and you're savoring it and you're cozy and you feel really good about it after the fact that you ate it. You feel comfortable, you feel full but not guilty at all, and it's just the way that you envision it, right? Everyone's going to be a little bit different. So I literally want you to write out a visualization for every single one of these foods. Yes, this is important. So this is the first step. We are not going out of our way to buy trigger foods to keep in the house, certainly not at this time. I know that I am encouraging you to have unconditional permission to eat, and I definitely, you're the one that has to give yourself the permission, but the permission is there. You can eat these foods anytime or any way that you want. It's all about figuring out when it is that you truly want this in a way that's going to make you feel really good about it and that you will enjoy it. We are not going to indulge in behaviors, though, that encourage you to have disconnected experiences with your body and eating. So you may make a few mistakes along the way. You may stumble along the way. You may have some experiences where you do have disconnected eating with a trigger food that you're incorporating, and that is okay. I'm not telling you to avoid it, but I do want you to make sure you're not sabotaging yourself by purposely buying it or purposely thinking like, I am going to do this, and buying the ice cream and putting it in the freezer, tricking yourself into thinking, I am not going to binge on it. I know I can do this. I'm just going to buy it, and then it's just like a way that your brain tricks you into having that binge food in the house, which you then later binge on. So I just want you to be actively aware of that. I know some of you don't live alone, and so therefore you don't always have control over what foods are in your house. But I want you to start to put a mental block on, a mental boundary on the foods that are in your house that are not yours. It may be your partner's, it may be your kids. And I want you to put a mental boundary on, I don't eat food that's not mine. I don't eat food that's not mine. This food's for my kids, this food's my husband's, they bought it, I bought it for them, he bought it for himself, she bought it for herself. I don't want you to start to indulge in eating others' foods. If you're doing this already, that's okay. This is where the mental practice is going to come in. It also helps to use the leverage of the pain of how embarrassing it is to eat somebody's food and then have them be like, where are the M&Ms that I bought yesterday? They're all gone. It was an entire bag. So you can use that embarrassment, you can use that feeling to give you a pain point of leverage into interrupting your binge urge and doing something else instead of talking you into acting on that urge and eating others' foods. In the meantime, I'm just going to repeat it. You have a lot of work that you're doing in this month. You are continuing to nourish your body with your whole foods as your foundation. We're layering in a strong, nourishing habit of feeding yourself with whole foods, like whole food carbs and fats and proteins and vegetables and water. We're satiating your basic needs, your most basic needs of your body on a physiological sense. We're letting your body's starvation and stress inflammatory response come down by reducing your desire, your hijacked need for processed foods. And yes, processed foods are literally like altered in a lab, in a scientific lab, to play on our pleasure and to play on our desire and need and want for more and more. And that is not conspiracy, that is legit. So reducing your need for processed foods will create blood sugar instability, which can create or exacerbate our urges. So when we eat, that blood sugar goes up, when we eat a processed food with high sugar or very high in carbohydrates, that blood sugar is going to spike up way too fast and way too high, and it's also going to crash way too fast and way too low. And then we experience this angst, and the brain's stress response will kick in, and we experience the urge all over again. So it either creates it or it exacerbates it. And so we want to pull these processed foods out so that our blood sugar is not the reason why we are having urges. We want to continue to nourish ourselves, make our body feel safe from the perspective that we have food, we're getting a regular intake of nourishing whole foods that's taking care of our baseline needs. And now we are visualizing how we want to incorporate our trigger foods, or previously our trigger foods, into our life in a healthy way that makes us feel good. Okay, so I hope that was clear. Good luck with step 1. I know you're going to do amazing. Please email me when you have your visualizations. I love reading these because I can see like you in that situation, just being happy and enjoying life and enjoying the food inside of it. Step 2 is going to come in phase 2. In phase 2. So when we talk about partnership, we're also going to talk about making those new memories in actual situations where we're eating our former trigger foods. Have a great day, warrior, and I will see you in the next video.